Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of Gift of Gab. I am your host, Gab. Welcome back. Glad to be with y'all. And today we have a very special young lady with me. I got introduced to her by one of my best friends. Everybody say hello to Miss Ebony. Hi, Miss Ebony. How you
Hello.
doing?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. I'm so glad you asked me to do the podcast.
I'm happy to have you here. I really brought you here for your hair. Let me tell the world how beautiful your hair is.
Thank you.
And
Thank
the
you.
silver of it just, ooh,
It's
girl,
a
listen.
it's a gift and a curse. Look, because it's hours. Look, it's hours and hours. Literally hours and hours of doing
And it
this.
always looks flawless. And it doesn't matter if you straighten it or leave it in its natural state. Your hair always looks so beautiful.
I appreciate you saying that. Thank you so much.
So today, y'all, today's episode is called "Advocating for Black Moms." So, what's on the rise is Black maternal health care. And that's why we have Miss Ebony here. And as I get into it more, you will find out what Miss Ebony does. But to just kick things off, I wanted to find some facts. Again, this episode is called Advocating for Black Moms. So, Black women are 5 times more likely to die from pregnancy related cardiomyopathy, blood pressure disorders, than white women. So, Miss Ebony here is a doula. And who better than to help combat this, rising rate of maternal deaths among Black women than doulas? So, first things first, Miss Ebony, let's talk about what a doula is.
Yes,
What is a doula?
a doula. I would say a doula is a source of support. Whether that's for pregnancy, labor, postpartum. We are there to support mom and her family with whatever they need that's pregnancy related. So that could be she has questions about something that her doctor mentioned to her that she didn't quite really understand. If dad needs help comforting mom or like just dealing with mom, because a lot of people don't really understand, like, it's more than just carrying a baby. It's an emotional, it takes an emotional toll on you as well. And it just helps to have an outlet, somebody that's non-judgmental, not in your inner circle that you can talk to and confide in. And that can help you navigate the changes that come along with not only getting pregnant, being pregnant, but even after having your baby.
And I looked up the word doula because one of my questions is how long have doulas been around? How long has this been a thing? And I looked up the word doula, and it comes from the Greek word doule, and it means a woman who serves.
Yes.
So that tells me that doulas have been around
Forever.
for a long time.
Yes, absolutely.
So you are literally doing what the meaning of the word is, serving the
Yes,
woman.
yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. So how did you become a doula? What's the process to become a doula?
There is no like state certification requirements. Anybody who feels called to be a doula, I mean, at that point, that's when you become a doula. There are programs that will certify you and will teach you and kind of make the transition a little bit easier. But anybody who wants to be a doula can be a doula. The information is out there for you to educate yourself. If you want to go the certification route, it is available to you. But anybody can be a doula.
Can be a doula. Awesome. Now, how long have you been a doula, and what inspired you to become one?
I have been a doula since 2018. So I'm
Oh
still
wow.
fairly new to the birth work world.
Mhm.
Um, what inspired me to become a doula is my first pregnancy was twins. I was 22, I was young, I didn't really know anything about having babies. And when I would go to my doctor's appointments, like nobody would talk to me. They would look at the babies, look at my chart, and just kind of leave out of the room. And it kind of went on like that to the end of my pregnancy until they were ultimately born via C-section, which I never knew that I didn't have to have a C-section. I just was never informed of my options. And so I was watching a video one day, and a lady was talking about having a doula, her experience with a doula, and what she was describing. And I was just like, wow, there are people out there that could have helped me educate myself about my options. And so I just said, I want to be that for other women. I want to be that for other people who are going through things like I did, and have somebody there to help you find your voice and give you that education so that you can make the best decisions for yourself.
Absolutely. And there was something that you said. You mentioned that you found out later that you didn't have to have a C-section. One of the studies that I read showed that doulas can help reduce the rate of C-sections, which are higher in Black women. So, it's ironic that you mentioned that, because that is one of the highlights of being a doula when it comes to supporting Black women. Pretty much everything I read said, that doulas have been a huge part in preventing C-sections with Black women. Because just like you said, the things that I read, the Black women were saying, nobody was talking to me. The doctor was just, hey, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
I didn't have a choice,
Yeah.
and dad's over here not really understanding as well. And, he's just like, what do you have to do to bring the baby here safe and keep mom safe? Do it.
Yeah.
And I was never presented with other options on how to keep me and baby safe.
Right.
It was just, let's just go here. So let me see here. What are the signs, or I'm sorry, what are some of the things doulas do to provide support before, after, and during labor? So let's walk through it. I'm a brand new mom. I just found out I'm pregnant, and I reach out to you and I say, hey, Miss Ebony, I want you to be my doula. What are we doing?
So the first thing is education is key. Education is the key to everything. And so I am going to tell you that you need to get into a childbirth education class, you and your partner or your support person or whatever that looks like for you. I think a lot of times fear comes from the unknown. And when we understand the process and what happens to our bodies in labor, it takes that fear away and it builds more of a trust that things are okay and this is normal. This is what's supposed to happen. Whereas if you don't have that education, you don't really know. You're just kind of going in blind. And I tell people all the time, you cannot cram for labor. You have to have a solid foundation when you're
So
going
you
in.
mean to tell me I can't do what I did in college
No.
for an exam?
It don't work.
For the baby?
It don't work like that, sis. It's called muscle memory.
So, how do you provide support for dads? Like, I know doulas are mainly for mothers, but how do you provide supports for dads before, during, and after labor?
My support for dad is the same as my support for mom. Supporting him with education, again, is especially for fathers, because they just don't know. They don't really have a solid understanding of what childbirth is. It's a lot for a lot of them. It's really scary. So taking that fear away, empowering them with tools to use to comfort mom. Um, there's different techniques that we can use. Of course, I don't provide any pain medication, but you'd be surprised like what a good hip squeeze could do, or some some counter pressure on your lower back can do, like to help you get through contractions. And so like I feel like once they have those tools, they don't feel so helpless. Like they don't feel useless. Like I'm just standing here, I don't know what to do. And also just helping prepare for navigating postpartum. Because a lot of men don't realize what's normal and what's unusual behavior for postpartum, and kind of just being that support person that like, hey, I'm noticing this, like, is this okay? Do you think, what do you think about this? It's really helpful. so you don't feel alone. So you're not feeling like you have to figure everything out on your own.
Awesome. So we're empowering dads to be more active during the delivery session because most often we do what depicted in movies, books, anything. Dads kind of just are standing off to the side,
Yes.
pulling out their hair, just screaming somewhere. So that's a powerful thing to put tools in his hand to be more proactive in the delivery of the baby.
Yeah.
And not just that, we know that women, especially Black women, face postpartum, like it's huge. And to
Yeah.
give him the tools to identify certain things. So let's talk about that a little bit more. Being a doula, what do you kind of equip mom and dad with to notice about themselves, some unusual things during postpartum?
Well, first of all, like I make it clear that postpartum is not a mental disorder. Postpartum is the period after you have your baby. And I give them a postpartum contract. I give most of my clients a postpartum contract, and it lists just different things that you can look out for. Whether it just be like obsessive compulsive things with the baby, or like obsessively cleaning the home, not sleeping, things like that. It also just to serve as a reminder to mom, like, hey, this is not us telling you you're a bad mother. This is us reminding you that you have a village here to help you. And if we see something, we're going to say something. So I had that conversation with everybody because you just never know how having a baby will affect you, because it changes your whole world. It not just your body, it really changes your whole world. And sometimes that can be very dark. And I just strive to, let my clients know, like, you're not alone. You will always have somebody here to support you and help you find the help that you need.
Come on, village. I stand for a good village. Now I know that doulas are non-medical.
Yes.
But how do you partner with the medical team when it comes to mom, dad, and baby?
I think it's so important to have collaborative care and to have providers and nurses who are receptive to doulas. And I have seen a culture shift in the hospital settings where I've had wonderful experiences where I've had the doctor, you know, be receptive to like me suggesting, like, mom, I think mom wants to push on her side. I don't think she wants to get on her back.
Okay.
The nurses, um, I just had a birth on Tuesday, and one of the nurses was like, "Can you come and help all my moms? Like, you have been so helpful." And it's really the little things, like giving gentle reminders of the mom's birth plan. Mom didn't want any students in her delivery room. And a lot of times nurses are busy and they don't always remember every single point on everyone's checklist. And so I'm here to say, I'm sorry, but there's no students. You guys can't come in. So just things like that, just the really fine details to make sure that the birth is honored in the way that mom wants it to be honored. I think it's very special, and with the right team, it can go very smooth.
That is awesome because, so many times women are going through contractions or, they're just focused on bringing a healthy baby into this world and to have to not deal with the extra part of having to remind somebody that, hey, I don't want no students in here,
Yes,
or hey, I'd rather do this or that. But they're just worried about bringing a happy, healthy baby into
absolutely.
this world. And you are here advocating for them to make sure that that goes smoothly. I
Yes,
think that's phenomenal.
yes.
I think that just like I wish doulas could be for everything, right? When we go to the dentist,
Absolutely.
I wish I would have had a doula for the dentist because I was like, listen, I don't want just Novocaine. I want some gas. Because I think if I had a doula, I would have got
You would have got it.
it.
You said, I can't go all the way under by myself. Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
I
I
got
think that's
you.
just phenomenal. Yeah, next dentist appointment,
I
holler.
got you, sis.
That's what I'm talking about. So let me see. I had something else here I wanted to say. Okay, so one of the things that you mentioned was that I'm sorry, I may have read this somewhere, but I also wrote it down here. According to Good Morning America, reports show that concerns of Black women experiencing negative symptoms during pregnancy and postpartum are specifically ignored by some physicians until the woman's conditions have significantly worsened or it's too late, they've died. With that in mind, what would a doula's approach be? So, mom is saying, hey, Ebony, I'm having pain or this or that is happening, and I don't think the doctor is listening to me. So, this is after mom has had the baby, but she's saying, I don't think they're listening. How does a doula advocate for a mom at that point?
I always strive to get my clients in a mind frame where they're comfortable having discussions with their providers. Because a lot of times I believe we as Black people, we have white coat syndrome where we don't question anything the doctor says. We take it as law. We don't feel as if this should be a collaborative effort. We just go in, listen, sit down, listen, and then we just leave. So my response to that would be, did you talk to your provider? Did you let them know that you're not feeling like they're listening to you? Because I think the thing is, like, we need to get comfortable having uncomfortable conversations with our medical providers because we're not always going to agree on everything. And I believe that something as far as your health and you not feeling well, if your provider is not taking that seriously and listening to you, then I'm saying you need to go see somebody else. You need to go get a second opinion, because this doctor is not listening to you for whatever reason. But you know your body and you know that something is going on. So we're going to find somebody else that is going to listen to you. I think that's
Absolutely.
just so important is getting comfortable having those conversations where you don't necessarily agree on everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And, in my experience, of course, I'm not a mommy yet. But one of the biggest things that made me more comfortable in having those tough conversations with my provider was I switched to a woman doctor. I
Yeah.
all of my life, my mom had been taking me to a male OBGYN.
Mhm.
And for me, that was the most uncomfortable thing, right?
Yeah.
And like, you ain't never had one of these. You went to school for it. You feel me? You ain't never had to live with it.
Right.
So
Right.
I became responsible for my own health care. So
Yeah.
I switched and I found a Black doctor.
Yeah.
And granted, she was young, but again, the tides are changing. So she sat with me when she came in. I first met her. We sat and we had a conversation. And I said, listen, this has been my experience. I don't want to go through that anymore. I'm in charge of my health care now. I need to let's have conversations. I need you to know me. You already gonna know me intimately. I need you
Right.
to know me.
Know me as a
And that was
person. Yeah.
know me as a person.
Yeah.
And that was a big shift for me in my mind and in the way I approached my healthcare. So while I don't discourage going to a male doctor or even a doctor that is not of color, but I highly encourage women of color, men of color, go to somebody who looks like you.
Yeah.
Like if I was a man, I wouldn't want a woman doctor probably messing with my prostate because you never had one. So no, I'm not trying to discredit
Yeah.
these doctors because they went to school, they did their thing, and I'm sure they're great. But I think it's all about comfort. When you see somebody
Yeah.
that looks like you, it's easier to have these conversations with.
I would
So
agree. And even if they don't look like you, I think you just have to you have to go with somebody who you feel seen and heard by,
mhm,
somebody that's actually listening to you is of the utmost importance. I
absolutely,
believe.
absolutely. So let's say we have a mom tuning into this episode and she's kind of on the fence about whether or not she should get a doula. What would you tell this mom? Why this Black mom? Why is it important for her to have a doula advocating for her?
I believe that we all deserve a certain level of care
Mm-hmm.
when we are with child. And I believe that having a doula will be able to assist you in enhancing that care and assist you in not just a doula advocating for you, but you advocating for yourself as well. Because a lot of what we do is helping clients find their voice, figure out what it is they like, what their dislikes are, because you'd be surprised how difficult it is for a lot of women to answer the question, how do I want to be cared for? How do I want to be supported? It's a lot deeper than just going in and having a baby.
Yeah.
It's really a lot of soul searching, a lot of self reflection that goes into that. And having a doula will help you navigate all of that and help you put together a plan so that you don't feel like you're doing all of this by yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now share with us, if you would, one of your most memorable experiences as a doula.
Oh, I think every birth is so amazing to me. But one birth that will forever just live rent free in my mind. I did a hospital water birth,
Wow.
which is it's like unheard of. Like I've never heard of a hospital water birth.
Neither
Um,
have I.
but there were midwives attending the birth, not a OB. And
Okay.
there were literally times where I just forgot we were in a hospital. It was just so beautiful and just undisturbed birth. The mother was able to labor, and there were no nurses coming in and out of the room. I was able to
Wow.
just completely focus on her and doing the things that she needed to help her get through her contractions. And it was absolutely beautiful.
That is amazing. And ladies, I know y'all can feel the care that Ebony feels when it comes. You know, like you can just tell that this is what brings you
Oh,
joy,
it
and
is.
you love it. I can just tell from the way you talk about it. So I would love to have a doula that, like
Yes,
it's just that amazing and that inspired by every single birth and not treating them like they are all one and the same. But every
absolutely.
birth is unique, every mommy is unique.
Yes,
That is
I
awesome.
feel so blessed. My heart is full. It really is. I love what I do. And I'm just so fortunate to have found something that speaks to my soul. Um, and Gabby, whenever you need to do it, you just call me, sis. I'll get on a plane.
That's what I'm talking about. Y'all heard it right here on Get the Gab. She has agreed to be my doula. Okay, so y'all mommies is gonna be a mommy at the same time as me. She mine. I'm just saying. So, two last questions for you. First is, for any woman or person out there that is looking to become a doula, what advice would you give them?
I would say to be a doula, you don't need a whole lot, but you do need a servant's heart. This is a lot. It's a lot of work, and it has to come from a place of love. You can't get into it for the money. It's not a fad. I know everybody's like, oh, everybody's talking about being a doula, and they just want the latest. Everybody's doing this latest doula thing. It's no, it's not a fad. It really truly is sacred work, and you have to have a servant's heart to do this work. So I would just say like if you are someone who wants to be in a role of serving others, it would be a great fit for you. If not, not so much. But as far as time, it does take a lot of time. I sacrifice a lot of time for my family and my children. Um, but it's something that I love, and I feel like the sacrifice is worth it.
Miss Ebony, tell the people the name of your business and how they can find you.
My business is called Bridge to Birth, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram under at Bridge to Birth on both platforms.
Awesome. And I will make sure to have her information tagged on the YouTube page when I upload this video. So, Miss Ebony, I cannot thank you enough for being here with me. We have already signed, sealed, delivered. You my doula. And I know how wonderful you are. Coco just, she raves about how much she loves you, and you have helped her get through her pregnancy. So my
Oh,
hats off to you.
that's my baby. I love her.
Yeah, girl, all the way around. It's my day though. I love her, but no, she's absolutely great. And I just, I really want to thank you and give you your flowers because society tends to forget about ordinary people. It's not until their name is in the stars and stuff. But to be advocating for Black women on this level is truly, truly amazing. I appreciate you so much for that because we have to be there for one another. We absolutely have to. We have to take down these numbers where we are 3.5 times more likely to die than white women.
Yeah.
That should not be the case. So I from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you and all the work that you do. You are always welcomed on Gift of Gab for anything that you would like to talk about. Please, please, please. I hope you come back again.
Yes, I'd love to.
Absolutely. Thank you. And for the rest of y'all out there, I thank you so much for tuning in. As always, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. I love you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.